Well, good morning. It is Tuesday, the 21st of April, and it's yet another bright and beautiful morning in Cumnock. Yes, let me say that again. It's another bright and beautiful morning in Cumnock. The sun is splitting the sky, the flowers are in bloom, the birds can be heard singing away over the noise of the much less than normal traffic. Now, it needs to be said, folks, that the weather has been exceptional, hasn't it? The days have been sunny, perhaps even warm, and the evenings have been clear and beautifully starlit. Now, the timing of these clear skies couldn't be any better. For over a couple of days, appearing in the night sky is the Lyrid meteor shower. Tonight, according to the Royal Observatory at Greenwich, we could be treated to a spectacular light show featuring upwards of 20 meteors per hour. Now, myself and Fraser went out last night around midnight. We stood out in the front garden. We looked up in the sky and we saw, yes, you've guessed it, nothing. I'm sure folks out walking their dogs up the wood road would have wondered what on earth are these pair of nutters doing. But anyhow, if you have more patience than I do and you don't mind the chill of the evening, then this would be a wonderful sight to see. As astronomers have indicated that tonight will be particularly good. And the reason why? It's a new moon. There will be less light from the moon, and this heightens the chances of clearly seeing the meteors. Folks, think about this. The darker the surroundings, the brighter a shining light appears. The darker the night, as it were, the more alluring, the more noticeable, the more attractive and distinctive the light shines. Now, perhaps there's a case to be made that humanity's relationship with God and our ability or desire to hear from, to notice, to rely on God is a little bit like that. You know, when life is bright, when we prosper, when everything is going hunky-dory, well, perhaps we lose sight of the brightness of God. We get distracted by other things. Perhaps Jesus, the light that shines into the darkness, as John calls him, is sometimes obscured by the floodlight of prosperity. Perhaps the one described by John in Revelation as being so bright that there will be no need for sun and moon in the New Jerusalem, he is hidden from view perhaps when things are going well, and he only comes into clear focus when we are in the darkness of crisis and calamity. Darkness, maybe like even the present challenges faced by humanity with a rampant virus spreading across the globe. Friends, did you know that since the COVID-19 pandemic kicked off, the number of people searching for the word prayer on Google has skyrocketed? It's doubled with every 80,000 new cases of coronavirus, according to a study done by the University of Copenhagen. Another piece of research conducted by the Pew Institute found that 55% of Americans have prayed for an end to the pandemic, and that 15% of those who seldom or never pray, and 24% of those who do not have any religious affiliation at all, have prayed to God to end this catastrophe. Indeed, in another poll, nearly half of respondents said that the pandemic was a, quote, a wake-up call from God. This is food for thought, isn't it? You know, I read an article in the past couple of days written by the evangelist Greg Laurie, where he tries to make sense of all this. Listen to what he said. He wrote this: "The unthinkable tragedy of people dying every day from COVID-19, the fear of death, the acknowledgement of the fragility of life has been a wake-up call for many. In some ways, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced people to consider the afterlife and their relationship with God by knocking down all our false gods." He says this, he says, "For people that worshipped sports, the stadiums are closed and no games are being played. For others who idolize musicians, The civic centres are closed and the concerts are cancelled. For those who had such fawning admiration for actors, the theatres are shuttered and no new films are coming. For even others who bowed at the altar of money, the stock market is generally down and the economy is stalled. And he continues like this. He says, if you do go out, you can see fear, stress and worry on people's faces. People need hope. They are searching for a light at the end of the tunnel and are finding that their usual heroes cannot get them out of this mess. He says this, he says, Hollywood can't save us. There is no blockbuster film or actor that will get us out of this. Technology can't save us either. Our smartphones and computer screens just feed us a barrage of information that heightens our stress and anxiety. Our lawmakers, he says, can't save us from COVID-19. They will hopefully continue to work together and do what they can, but the outcome is outside their control. And he concludes by saying this, I think we finally are beginning to realize we need God. I think we finally are beginning to realize we need God. Folks, in Matthew chapter 4, Jesus begins his public ministry by fulfilling a prophecy written hundreds of years earlier. And in this word, the population at large were described as being people who lived in darkness. And Jesus was spoken of as being a great light which shined on them in that darkness. Friends, let's pray that in our darkness, in our dark world, the spectacular, life-giving, hope-bringing light of God in Christ Jesus might be clearly seen and embraced. Shine, Jesus, shine, should be our plea. Fill this land with the Father's glory.